So my leg training has gotten a lot better over the years, like a lot better. And here are some of the things I think you guys would benefit from trying to incorporate in your training to improve your leg days. Because let's be honest, leg days are very, very hard. They are by far the hardest day you'll have. When I work with people, it's very obvious that they're going to struggle with legs at first, because getting yourself in the headspace, the discipline to actually be able to really train hard and push your legs close to failure is really tough. They are incredibly systemically demanding. They take so much out of your system. Your nervous system's literally on fire. It's just hard. And if you ever teach someone who's in the beginning of their training career to take a bicep curl to failure, getting them to take like an SLDL to failure, much different stuff. So a few things that really benefited me when I first started, really improving my leg training a lot. A couple of things. So we're on an SLDL here at the beginning of my leg day. A very basic thing that I found to be incredibly helpful was just stretching. This is something I did at night, stretching my hamstrings, trying to actually practice doing a hinge. So if you're working with someone, I would highly suggest you have them do this, or if you're a person who's working as a coach, I'd suggest you do this as well. Find a way, just when you're at home at night, whatever you're doing, find a way that you can, just go in your room, whatever, and actually practice doing a good hinge, actually getting people to experience this motion of hinging at the hips. Very important, and it's very hard for people to sort of conceptualize, because it's like, wait a minute, I'm actually not really supposed to do anything besides like push my glutes back, and it's like, yeah, that's really all you're supposed to be doing. So if you're doing an SLDL and I'm here and I'm actually grabbing the weight and whatever, the only thing I'm really going to be thinking about mentally is literally just glutes back, everything else straight, glutes back. That's literally all I tell my clients, like glutes back, just push glutes back, keep everything else nice and straight. That's a really good cue you guys can use, but if you're not flexible enough, what'll end up happening is you'll try to hinge and then you round in the lower back. So you actually see when they're trying to hinge, the lower back will actually cave in. That's not what we want. If the upper back caves in, it's okay. Some people are just built that way. Me personally, I have a little bit of scoliosis in the upper part of my back, so I really can't even prevent that anyway. But a lot of people, when they're doing some kind of hinge, the lower back loses all tightness, gets really flexible, and it's not what we want. We want it to be nice and tight, nice and rigid for injury prevention. Even if it's a little rounded, but you have like nice tension throughout the whole lift, it's really not that bad. But what you'll find happens is that people don't have the mobility, so they overcompensate. And the right thing to do is just to say, hey, look, this is your active range of motion. You cannot get any deeper than this. You cannot get any lower, because if you do, your lower back is going to start to take over. That's not what we want. So getting people to understand kind of where their active range of motion is has been kind of important for me, because everybody's different. Some people have very different ranges of motion and things like that. Everybody has different, sort of depths of certain lifts they can access. It really just depends on the person. It depends on the situation. So that's just something to think about. I'm going to do an SLDL here. And to give you guys an example how this even affects me still is, this is an SLDL for 315. I was doing this for like 5 or 6. Took a couple weeks off training legs, just from traveling and doing stuff and whatever. And now that I'm back here with my legs, I'm a little bit weaker, and I'm also not as flexible. So 2 problems at once. So I've been really trying, been like a long process to actually try to get back. It's taken me a good week or a week and a half to kind of get back to where I was, I believe. So we'll see how we do today. Last time was pretty rough. I couldn't even move it last time. I don't know what the hell was going on. So today should be pretty good. We'll see. We're going to start with our 315, and I'll let you guys kind of get a watch here and see what I'm able to do here. So again, the goal is to be as flexible as I can, always doing my stretching, and if I have to bend my knees a little bit, I bend them a little bit. It's okay. Your body kind of tells you. If something feels really uncomfortable, don't do it. That's a pretty obvious one. And here we go. So we got our 315 on the bar. Hoping it moves nicer this time. I think it will. I'm feeling good, feeling confident. Everything is looking good here. So we got our 315 ready to go. Yep. Here we go. All right. Nice and tight. Good brace. And here we go. Oh, man. Oh, not perfect, but that was 4. I'll take it. That was pretty rough, but better than it was last time. So again, we kind of access these ranges of motion again when you're training and you're like, man, why am I not flexible anymore? What happened? Could be because you took a week or 2 off, and you might have to you know, kind of learn to re-access that range of motion. But again, I don't like to get weaker. I don't like to lighten the weight unless I really have to. And there are certain lifts where I'll have to do that, but on SLDL, I'm not going back to 2 plates, a 35, a 5. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. We're sticking at 315. So got that for 4. Pretty happy with it, and we'll keep going. All right, so we were about to do some banded hack squat here and get into a few other things I think you guys should think about when actually trying to get better at training legs. So very simple. A couple things you guys want to think about is, for one, your tempo. So you guys will notice that doing a hack squat here, this is very good for hitting the quads in their length and range. But here's the thing. When I'm coming down on this rep and I'm controlling the eccentric, I want to have some control over it. I don't want it to be ridiculous. There's really no need for you to like ridiculously slow down the eccentric. All that is doing is creating more muscle damage, or making it actually harder for you to recover and come back from session to session. So I'm trying to find a way to perform this exercise where I'm still getting pretty deep, still getting a very good stimulus, but I'm not generating this ridiculous amount of muscle damage by controlling it and going excessively slow. It's just not necessary for me. So normally I would have my yoga blocks on this, but unfortunately I do not. So I think my workaround is actually going to be a 10-pound plate, which is going to be kind of uncomfortable, but it might actually be all that I have here. So let's see if I do this. If I come here and actually throw a 10-pound plate on, I think this might actually get me the depth that I need. This might absolutely suck, which I think it's going to. Is it going to? This might be okay. Let's see. Wait, hold on. No, not good. Here we go. Wait, and we're gonna unrack. Okay. This one is not unracked. Here we go. All right, so that feels not bad. Kind of digging in. Nah, that's gonna hurt. That's gonna hurt on my set. Good idea in theory, but in execution, we will not be doing that. But yeah, normally I'd have my yoga blocks here when I'm doing this. And we're gonna go for probably three plates and change on each side, but the lack of yoga blocks might change it and make it a little bit different. We'll see. It is gonna affect the resistance just a little bit. But yeah, getting a good tempo down is very important. And the tempo you should be going for is actually a lot simpler nowadays than I'd say it would have been if you go back just a few years. Like, if you go back a few years, people's conception of tempo is very different, where you'd have people, you know, doing 8-second, 10-second long eccentrics. And once again, that's just very, very, very unnecessary. Totally not needed to go that slow on the way down. So we got 2 plates, second warm up. Should feel pretty good. I want you guys to comment right now, if you can, what videos you want to see in the future. Please do let me know, because I value your opinions and they help me make new content in the future. So, got 2 plates here. Let's feel it out. So, here we go. And let's go down. All right, that's pretty good. That feels pretty nice. I could live with that. I'm gonna do 3 plates and change my working set most likely. So kind of daunting, but you know, it's part of the process. Like I said, when you train legs a lot, you kind of want to really think about managing your recovery, making sure you're not doing too many sets, not taking them too close to failure all the time. So because I do upper lower and I hit this really frequently, I'm not going to take this to like 0 RIR, screaming failure partials. Probably leave a rep or 2 in the tank, because I know that I'm coming again to do this in like 48 to 72 hours. So because I know that, it's going to make it pretty hard to recover if I'm doing, you know, 5 reps and I fail on 6. Probably still going to be sore. Probably not going to be able to produce the amount of force I want on my next session. So just something small to think about. So we got our 2 plates on each side. I'll probably do, we'll probably do 3 here. 3 on each side, plus I think we'll do 15 or 17 or something. Again, your goal should really be to just get stronger over time at this with relatively similar technique. So if you're doing, you know, 10-second long negatives, probably not the best idea. And you know, the bracing that you learned from SLDL and your hinge movements is also going to apply here, obviously. you do want to have a pretty good sense of like brace on these movements. So kind of just feeling it kind of through your core, like breathing in, and that's going to be a pretty solid way to just kind of think about it. So if you're sitting here, just go breathe in, breathe out this way. You don't always have to do it, and a hack squat does, you know, remove some of that external bracing demand, but it's still there. It is still there to a degree. So I think I got this from round 4 last time, and you know, it's daunting, but it's just not as daunting as like a Tom Platz leg day where you're walking out of the gym like puking and feeling horrible. I walk out of the gym feeling pretty good usually, and that's very, very important. So we're gonna grab 2 5s. This should be good. Here we go. We got 2 5s, and if we clink at the bottom a little bit, we clink at the bottom. Not a tragedy. Next time, I'm now my yoga blocks. Okay, so here we go. Feeling pretty good. I keep the chain tucked under here so it doesn't make a bunch of noise. I kind of want to show you guys what I'm doing here. I want you guys to be able to see the work in action here. Let's have you guys take a look at the work in action. And here we go. That should be pretty solid. Even lower. And there we go. That's what we're looking at here. Hell yeah. All right. Did I show you all the depth? Of course. All right. Once again, try not to be a total ham before doing these sets because it's pointless and you're just gonna gas yourself. So just a little bit of work to be done. That's it. A little bit of work today, all we're doing. Probably if we get 4 or 5. Absolutely not a rep more. Not a rep more. That was probably 1 in the tank, maybe. But it was pretty good. That was pretty good. So hope you guys found that useful. Again, just a few things to think about. Getting your bracing in order. Trying to get as flexible as you can. You guys see I can get pretty deep without any problems at all. My knees always feel pretty good. I do like to use a reverse band on this, so it does make that bottom just a little bit easier. But doing those things, getting your programming down to where you're not just throwing in a ton of junk volume, you know, no Tom Platz leg day here. Seriously, not the best idea. That'll wipe you out for a very long time. If you're doing legs in 48, 72 hours, 96 hours, you're not gonna be able to do 20 sets to failure. Not even possible, not even remotely. So that's just something I want you guys to think about. Hope you guys found this useful. Again, coaching down below in the description. That's it. See you guys on the next one.